Hi Ankit, how are you?
Hi, Pradeep. Good morning, good afternoon, your time zone.
Yeah, it's like morning time at the moment, 10 o'clock approximately. And it's raining outside, by the way, today.
It's beautiful in Bangalore. It might rain this by evening, but it's a nice October and Sunday afternoon here today.
Yeah, so like it's lovely, no, to be at home and enjoy the time with family.
It's great to see you after such a long time.
Yes, indeed. It has been so many years. It's good to catch up, right? After
Yeah.
so many years. Um, Ankit, so you know that in this podcast, I would be asking you some questions, and there may be some questions which may be going a bit more micro detail level. So let us begin with what exactly do you do, Lloyd? I see a beautiful
Okay.
picture.
Okay. So Pradeep, my life experience, professional experience has been motivated by making an impact to the communities and the world we live in, right?
Mhm.
And today, fortunately, by God's grace and all the right mentors in my life, I have a partner with Deloitte, and I focus on creating value for our clients. When I say value, it's a consulting buzzword, but really looking at how leveraging technology and emerging ecosystems in technology to solve business problems around us. If you take India as an economy, okay, it is growing at an extremely fast pace. Okay,
Mhm.
and as with the population we have and the kind of volumes we have, it has its own set of challenges to solve for. And there cannot be a better time in the history of technology to be in India at this point of time to leverage technology to drive transformations in the ecosystems we live in. Right? And that's one part of my job. Right? And the second part is I also strongly believe for the longest time, we as Indians have been driving technology transformations for the rest of the world. We have been driving huge alliances originating from the rest of the world, which is fantastic. I think the time has come. In the next 3 decades, you will see a lot of tech ecosystem players emerge out of India. Right? And as a partner in Deloitte, I'm here to drive that story for our India. Okay. And that's what I do. Now, that's on a high level, but if you drill down a little bit further, I have been a data and analytics partner for last few years, but I also wear a few other hats where I'm driving these systems. Okay. And I keep leveraging the word ecosystem because what technology we leveraged 20 years back, aspects of them that have come back, but they've come back in a much more powerful way. And the ability to touch every human interaction has increased at least 100 times. Right? And I play that intersection of technology and business with the clients and the lives and everything.
So if I tell it in a different way from my angle, business may be having some problems scaling up or like profit margin or growing in different regions. And then with the AI, with the ML, and other technologies along with, you have those business to reach those goals.
So, Pradeep, you're right. I think that was our earlier approach where we used to look at business problems. Okay. And typical business problems are the same, right? I mean, you want to increase market share, you want to increase operational efficiencies, you want to leverage, or you might be wanting to get into new lines of business, right? Those are the business problems. They will never go away. They're the same, right?
Right.
We attack them. But what has changed is for the longest time, consulting was about business enabled technology transformation. The last 10 years has seen a change where it has moved from a technology enabled business transformation route. And there's a fine balance. I don't think we can swing either ways, right? And I think while all the business goals are important, it has also become very imperative for the business drivers to realize technology will drive the
Yeah.
future of their business. Okay. So I play at that intersection. To your point, you're right. At the same time, I would pivot it upside down and say, how can I leverage technology to be more viable, be more successful, have higher margins? Can I get into tier two, tier three, tier four cities, depending on the type of business you are, right? I think technology gives you that leverage as well.
Right, right. Yes. So it has changed a lot. Like when I see my life itself, there was a time when I started working on mainframes and there was small computer, desktop, switch it on, go for a coffee, come back, connect to the mainframes and then start coding and save all the time in between. So it has changed a lot now. Yes.
I'll give you a very simple example. I was having a conversation with my colleagues here in India. You know, how the grocery stores operate, right? India is full of grocery stores, right? I mean, you grew up a lot around them.
Yeah.
But the consumer buying behavior has changed significantly.
Yeah.
With these Instacarts, the Swiggies, Zeptos,
yes,
10-minute delivery to your home, 5-minute delivery to your home, right? You often think twice before you think about going to a grocery store, buying something for your needs for the week. And India is a very different market than the US or the West because of the population, because of the geography, because of the number of stores, and it's important to recognize that. And I'll give you a very simple example. This was Saturday morning. Okay, we had to rush out. Okay, we got up in the morning. We did our trainer came in. We did our training, and then we had exactly 1 hour to get the kids up, get them ready, and then head out. So 8 to 8:30. We had 1 hour, 8 to 9. So 8 to 8:30 was about getting the kids ready. 8:30 to 9 was about fixing breakfast, and by 9 we had to leave. Now we hadn't prepared for it, right? And between our 8 to 8:30, while we were getting them up, getting them ready, we used our apps to order the buns, order the cutlets, and by 8:30, everything was in the house. All the kids had to do was slap in their burgers, put in the air fryer and stuff like. By 9 o'clock we were up. In the past, this would not be the case. In the past, if you had not planned, you would get ready, get out to a breakfast restaurant to have food and then go. That would require a different level of planning. No, I'm just saying the consumer behavior, and I'm putting myself as a consumer as well, right?
Yes.
In the past, I would have also gone to Costco or Walmart or Sam's Club, bought, all the chocolates, all the buns in advance, breads in advance, and they were stocked in my fridge.
Right.
And that's not the case in India anymore, right? I mean, because of the Instacart of the world, the Swiggies of the world, the Zepto of the world, the instant delivery mechanism of the world, the consumer behavior of going to the shop and buying versus online buying has significantly changed how a shop will be viable at a particular place. The shop still gives the same amount of leads to operate to a vendor. Right? And if that shop does not get into a partnership with all these online service delivery providers, and if they're only limited to serving customers at their shop, they will not be sustainable.
True.
So it's also, I'm just telling you, give an example of how technology is affecting our everyday life here.
Yeah. So what I heard is that shop still, I mean, they are still like brick and mortar shop, maybe there, warehouse, maybe there. But then they are now dependent, they are kind of linked with these other partners. They bridge the gap from the shop to the end customer.
Yes.
And this is working fine.
Yeah, and it's working fine, it's competitive. There is no price for, like, there's a significant price for at the shop level. But as a consumer, I don't have to care about it. I get the best deal.
Yeah, we get the best deal. That's good. So, Ankit, from here, I would like to hear more about your journey from your childhood till here.
So, Pradeep, first of all, thank you for inviting me to this blog. And I know that we spent time in college together, and but who knew who would be there at that point of time? So, thank you for inviting me to this blog, and I also thank you for asking this question, because a large part of who I am is shaped by the experiences we have had along our life, right? And they start shaping you up from childhood.
Right.
I think my dad was in the Indian Air Force. Okay, and I have, and I have actually grown up in 10 different cities from my childhood to 12. Right, as he got transferred and posted to different bases, different locations, I moved with him. right? And that experience of made me a very social animal, right? I mean, before you could settle in one place, get too comfortable, okay, you essentially are ready to go to the next base, next location, new school, make new friends, how to interact with new teachers, right? Make new friends in school as well as when you're at your home or around your society, right? So it was quite an experience. Every 2 to 3 years, we were moving around. And I didn't realize at that point of time, I never complained about it. And I've seen a lot of parents would say, how can you even do this? Your child, right? I mean, how did you manage and all that, right? But truly, I'm telling you, it makes you learn a lot of things in life, right? And I will the nuggets, and they have played significantly in my life. For example, before you get too comfortable in one place, it's okay to move on to something, to do something new, get a little bit uncomfortable, and the ability to take on that risk, that ask. I don't feel it as a risk anymore. Most people, it's a risk. For me, it's a new adventure, right? So I think there's a depends on the lens. Right? For some people, it's a risk. Okay, oh, it's new territory. And for me, it's an adventure. It's a new adventure. Let's go and explore. Let's make new friends. It might work out, may not work out, but you know what? I'm excited about it. And that really has shaped me in who I am along my childhood. Now, that was the Indian Air Force side of things. Also, I would say we studied in Kendra Vidyalaya. Okay, it's a central school sponsored by India. And Kendra Vidyalaya is an amazing place to learn. You get kids from all classes of society, all literally, and I mean it. Okay, from someone who really cannot afford anything for their kids to go to school, to a very affluent class as well. Okay, and it was catered for all government employees, but any place it has been is also catered for the community to come and work, study together, and not a very expensive school to work in to study, but also I think Kendra Vidyalaya also has some of the best teachers. Okay. And and the best could be defined in different ways. I mean, at that point of time, we really didn't think they were best because they were strict. Okay. And they were very strict. And today I realize there was a lot to learn from them. I mean, we learned also, right? There were good times, bad times, and we have some stories, amazing stories. And whether they were good or bad, the kind of camaraderie which was built with the students in the class is lifelong. I still have a stronger bond with my school friends because of the kind of atmosphere, the kind of culture we had in school. It was very open, very collaborative, and it was not just all studies. I mean, even if the teachers wanted us to study all the time, there was enough culture in the school to spend enough time on the grounds and field outside and play outside, as well as study. There was enough importance given to cultural activities, morning assemblies, reading the news in front of everyone, doing daily PT exercises, dress code. I think there was a lot happening in school. There were like different houses, there were sports meets, there were, in fact, I represented my school and the district and state in table tennis. I mean, most schools get very aligned to studies and academics, but Kendra Vidyalaya, exposed me to everything in life. So I would also give it to my school ecosystem and the teachers I have met there. So my parents, my defense background, in terms of what it gave exposure to us, and the school ecosystem actually shaped me in early part of my career. So that's school part, right? Subsequently, I think
just
engineering.
Question on this school part. So quickly, did you bunk any class during the school days?
That's an interesting. So I see. I'll tell you. I think bunking was not. See, there were two parts of it, right? During my school life, I also was in the hostel in Delhi for 3 years when there was a lot of terrorism in Punjab. My dad had no choice but to put me in a hostel in Delhi. Okay. Right. And that's where I learned a lot of new words like bunking, and I used to see students do this. Before that, I was a mama's boy, right? Seventh onwards, I got exposed to all of this, and really, considering we come from a very middle class family. Okay. And my dad had put in all his wealth and capital to put me in a good school, good hostel. There was a lot of responsibilities riding on my shoulders. So bunking was a big no for me. Okay. Why? And then when I went to Shillong, right? I was in Shillong from 9 to 12. I don't think I'd ever bunked the class. Okay. But I was a born leader who used to do things that people used to follow. Okay. And sometimes it was in direct conflict with the teacher wanted to study or we wanted to be in the field playing cricket. Right. So whether it's called bunking or it's called mass bunking, I don't know. I'll let you decide. Okay, but
Okay.
it was not me alone. It was always everyone together, right? In
Hmm.
terms of taking the entire class out of it.
Hmm. And did it give the Kendi Vidyalaya days, schooling, give you some kind of, I mean, extra strength or the ego,
I don't think it was ego. It was empowerment.
empowerment?
Okay.
Okay. Mm.
I think play culture, right? And again, like I said, people coming from so many different backgrounds together makes you a very strong personality.
Mm-hmm.
You will not be weak there. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you will know how to deal with life. You will learn about your friends coming from different backgrounds. You become good buddies, right?
Yeah.
I think the fact that they expose you to not only academics but non-academic activities is fantastic. Youth parliament. I mean, youth parliament has become a very common thing now in schools, private schools today. Back in the days, I mean, I'm talking about 96, no, 92, 93, 1992,
Mm.
93. I did youth parliament at that point of time. And schools, Kendra Vidyalayas, even if wanted, so central school, the direction comes from state, from center, right?
Yeah.
Schools used to enforce it, right? I think we had quiz competition, we had debating, we had all kind of sports competitions from kabaddi, kho, cricket, right?
Yeah.
Some of the law
Yes.
sports, right? I think we were enough on the field and we were enough on the ground as well, as well as in the academic world as well. So I think it was
Yeah.
the right balance.
It was really right balance. I remember still those days playing sports. They used
I
to.
don't, yeah, exactly, Pradeep. And I don't think, today's world, you hear a lot of topics around depression, kids going into depression. I don't think that vocabulary exists in kindergarten.
Yeah, it doesn't. I never
Okay, it
heard these
doesn't.
things.
And I'll tell you why. I personally believe because kids are coming from very different backgrounds in school,
Hmm.
come from the same background. A person who's a bus driver, their kids are coming there.
Yep.
A person who's a businessman, their kids are coming there. A
Correct.
central government employee, middle class, an affluent class, economically weaker section, everybody comes together in Kendra classes.
Yes.
And it's beautiful. And when the kids interact, right? In most of our kids, I do one thing. I'll tell you, my kids, I take them to my help's house on Ganesh Chaturthi and others, and
Hmm.
they're like, and just for one thing, to make them realize that what you have today is a gift. Not
Yeah.
everyone has it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
that help of mine lives in maybe a 1 BHK house where there's a four of them living. There's a kitchen and the study table, and they're all very happy. Okay, but
Hmm.
they're only aspirational. They have the hunger to succeed in life. Okay,
Correct.
and so the kids from that background coming to these schools, the kids coming with the middle class, they're about 2, 3 bedroom houses, right? They're doing relatively well. And then the affluent class who don't even know how many houses they have, right? When
Right.
all of them come together, it's a melting pot in school.
Right.
And I don't think in that background, one would think that the person with the economically weaker section would be left out. No,
No, there was no
I,
thinking
I,
like
I will
that.
tell you, some of my friends, I'm so proud of them. I know their family background from school.
Yeah.
They were not well to do off. And today they are the heads of the biggest banks in India. Okay. I
This point is
mean,
very good. Mm.
such a proud moment. Okay. Somebody is running a sales organization in South India. Somebody is an architect in Delhi. Somebody runs a school in Chandigarh, 10,000 kids there. I mean, it's absolutely amazing, right? So I think that really is important to, round it off where Kendra Vidyalaya gets people from different backgrounds together in the school and allows that ecosystem to flourish together.
So let's move further. Then after Kendi Vidyalaya, what happened?
So after Kendra Vidyalaya, after 12th, okay, so during those days, there was no internet,
Yep.
and word of mouth was what's right for you and what's wrong. Okay,
Correct. Yes.
this whatever your parents were told by their ecosystem is
Mm-hmm.
what was imparted to you. Okay,
Right.
and my dad was pushed to Shillong, and like any other kid finishing 12 that time, you would apply for an engineering exam, a medical exam, and
Yes.
you would also try to get into a 3-year degree course somewhere in India. Okay,
Yeah.
so that was the typical this thing. So what I had done was I had given my exams for NDA, okay, which National Defense Academy. There was a passion of mine that I wanted to be a pilot in the Navy, and the aircraft very low over the sea. If you've seen the movie Firefox, how the water flies on from the side, that was my dream. Okay, and so that was one exam I gave. The second was around engineering into different regional engineering colleges in India, and then the third was around medical, because AIMS exam was there. And I also went to Delhi, and this is very interesting again, right? Most parents don't leave their kids very early out of their house. My dad did.
Yeah.
Okay, as soon as 17, he put me in a train in Guwahati and said, "Why don't you go to Delhi and take admission?" That's what he did. He just gave me a suitcase. He's like, "Here's my friend's address." He put me in a train in Guwahati, the 2.5 day ride to those days to Delhi. So I went to Delhi. I took a bus, went to my dad's friend's place, stayed there for like 3, 4 weeks, went around North Campus, South Campus, and got admission in 3, 4 colleges. But it was quite an experience, right? Most parents would come along with you, check out the campus, and my dad did the reverse, right? Why don't you go yourself? You check it out yourself. And I was very empowered. I felt that was a great learning for me. My mom was not very sure what my dad was doing, but I think it worked out well because I was able to make my own decisions very early in life because my parents trusted me, they empowered me to make my own decisions. Okay, so I had three choices. I got into Naval Academy, which is the flying branch of Navy. I got an admission in REC, Karnataka Regional Engineering College, Surat, which is now called National Institute of Technology of Karnataka at Surat, Mangalore, Karnataka. And then medical, I did not crack through. IIT also, I did not crack through. But I had these two options. Okay, where I had got into engineering college, I had got an NDA, and I had got three options. Admission in colleges in Delhi as well. Okay. Now, I was almost sure that, I want to go into the Navy and be a pilot there. And my dad was, okay, why don't you talk to, you're in the Air Force ecosystem, why don't you talk to all the officers here and figure out what you want to do? And trust me, and my dad also told me one thing, okay, you are very aspirational. You are a natural leader. You take people along. Okay. If there's a crowd, you will go and, form an opinion and make a group and then make a pitch for it. That's you. Okay. And that's not the defense forces. Okay. Defense forces is around joining a cadre and going through the cadre in order and aligning to the orders. Okay. If that's not you, you will not do well here. Okay. And I was like, but Dad, I want to fly a pilot, fly a plane over the ocean. Right? He's like, okay, your call, but I'm just telling you. Right? I personally feel that you will do well in the private world or the commercial world more than the defense sector. And I was like, fine, but still, and then I spoke to a lot of defense officers and I got a similar sense. It's like, it's a great place. Defense service is a great place to be in, right? But then you have to be ready to go through your career in a certain rank-based manner. You can't cut the lines. There's no fast shortcut. Okay,
definitely.
Be ready for it. Second is the pace of transformation is going to be defined by what is right for the country, right? And those are the areas you would grow in. So at least at that point of time, things have changed a lot in the defense services since then because you have short service commission. A lot of them have been exposed to, the eventuality of it. Many of them have got into many of the areas we are working on today. So things have changed, but I'm talking about those days. So I decided not to join the Navy that time. Okay. And I had two options between engineering and
Delhi College.
So very excited about going to Delhi, honestly. Okay, rather than going to Surat, it sounded like Surat to me. Okay, and I was like, Surat does not sound very great to be in. And my intent was to do my BCom and then do my MBA and get into the business side of things, right? And after speaking to a few people and getting counseled by my dad and some ecosystem, I said, okay, fine, you can still do the same. Why don't you go get into a engineering college? REC was a great college. Okay, and why don't you go do engineering? And still, if you want to get into the business side, you can still do an MBA. Right?
Yeah.
I was like, fair. And
Mhm.
that's how I ended up in Glocal. And so that was my part of choosing the college. Now, my college life, RSC actually shaped the next avatar of me.
Yeah.
Okay. And I still go to a lot of campuses today. And I, tell them one thing. If there's one thing you can learn in engineering colleges in India, okay, if the college is doing everything right, okay,
Mhm.
is how you perform under pressure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The, the 4 years, all the courses you will learn, right? See, academically or whether it's electronics, whether it's mechanical, whether it's electrical, whether it's computer science, you
Mhm.
will learn the subject. Okay.
Right. Mm.
But what is that one or two things you're learning which will make you successful beyond learning the subject? Right? That is the most important thing you need to take out of college.
So
And we had
irrespective, so what I
yeah,
understood is that irrespective of the branch, if you change from ENC to computer, those knowledge will be different, but there will be certain things which will be constant in irrespective of the branch
absolutely.
which you
See,
choose.
I joined Karnataka Engineering College in civil. Okay.
Mhm.
And after the second year, I moved to electrical and electronics, triple E.
Mm.
And honestly, while I was in civil, I was pretty happy about it. I was researching about structural engineering, what things can happen in India, right? What is the future of civil engineering? So you, wherever you are, you'll be able to find the best.
Yes.
Okay. But it's
Mm.
all depends on your intent and attitude. Okay. You can have either a positive attitude or negative attitude towards life. So you can find what you want to be in the area where you've got, right? Now, when electrical and electronics happened, I was not very sure whether I should switch my branch, honestly, because I
Mhm.
had done my research for a year. I thought this is what I'll do in my 4 years in college. And then I was given an offer to join Triple E, and I was asking my seniors,
Mhm.
you said Royal Civil. Now, what's this Triple E thing about? Okay, like Ankit, the way Indian economy is evolving and how technology and ecosystems are evolving,
Mhm.
while civil is fantastically, it's great. I think today India is only ready to get people, more and more people from what is circuit branches into software and technology companies. So
Mm.
you should move there if you are given an opportunity. So I joined. That was my motivation to join Triple E, right? I had great professors, some of the best, I would say. You know, there was one professor I would like to mention, Dr. Devi Fakhruddin. Okay,
Yes.
he was very
Most
popular.
famous.
He
Yeah.
was very popular, and to the extent that I'll not talk about negative things. I think we all have enough stories. But I'll talk. He taught us one subject, material science. I still remember after so many years. Okay,
Oh,
subject in the entire like 8 semesters, material science. His lecture was, weekly once. It was a 55-minute or 50 minutes class. He should teach us for 10 minutes.
okay.
And the remaining time, he was either, commenting or telling stories or pulling someone down the class. Okay. But those 10 minutes
Okay.
were so good. Were so good. I mean, it was enough for him to impart whatever he wanted to say in that. And believe me, it was the highest scoring subject for entire class as an average in the entire 8 semesters. So this is the kind of professors we had. We had another professor, Dr. P. N. Sridhar. Okay,
Mhm.
now Sridhar sir was very popular in our amphitheater where we used to watch movies every Friday, which is called Students Activity Center, SAC.
Thank.
Okay, and because anytime anything goes wrong from the electric circuit or wiring, Sheila Sir's magic hands would come and it would fix it, right? I mean, he was
Fix.
really good. I mean, he was really good. And in fact, I'm talking about 92, 93, sorry, 96, 97,
Mm.
where he was being called in the industry, where people could not fix huge motors for months. Okay. He used to be called and he used to just go and say, why don't you do this and that? And within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, problem was solved. He was consulting at
Yeah.
that point of time. right? Great
Right.
guy, and he strongly believed, by the way, that great engineers are made in 5 or 6 years, not 4 years. Okay, and
Okay.
so we had very good professors and teachers at that point of time, very strict. Electrical engineering was very known to be strict as well, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, engineering beyond now academics, I think the 4 years living in the hostels of KRC also created a great bond. I mean, Pradeep, you are my friend from those days, but the kind of bond you create for 4 years living in an engineering college in the hostel is unparalleled. I mean, again, it's a melting pot where people come from different backgrounds, different states, and I'll tell you, it doesn't happen in every engineering college. It happens only in regional engineering colleges in India because 50% of the population
Yes.
was a must. They should come from the state,
States.
Karnataka. The
Different.
remaining 50%, it was a must. It was distributed that 10% would come from Uttar Pradesh, another 5% from different state. So it was pretty well bringing the nation together. Understanding different people, different background, different cultures was fantastic. I mean, I have friends from all over India, right?
Yes.
And I think it's a great feeling to be. I'm very proud to be from the college. Great place. By the way, just to mention, if you have not, it's the only college in India which has its own private beach. Okay,
Yes.
and it's fantastic. Okay, if you have not
Fantastic.
visited, visit. Okay, it's a great place and it's a beautiful temple on the beach as well. So please do,
Yeah.
and a lighthouse, right? So
Yeah.
so that those are a couple of things before I got into the professional life. We hope
Hmm.
it gives you a flavor. Hopes it gives you a flavor of my life before my professional life started.
Yeah. So now we move on to the professional life, right?
Yeah. Okay. So I was in college from 96 to 2000. Okay.
Hmm.
We got campus placed with a company called IntelliGroup in Hyderabad. By the time I joined IntelliGroup, web division of IntelliGroup got spun off. It was called Seranova. Okay. And I actually joined Seranova. About a year into it, 9 by 11 happened, .com crash happened. Okay.
Hmm.
And
Many
it
things.
was, many things happened. And I think the company which had grown from 400 people to 2,000 people, it had shrunk back to 400 people. I kind of, was lucky enough to navigate through the downturn and still have a job at that point of time, right? But it also made me, learn a lot in this time because I was seeing a lot of mergers and acquisition. So it was Serenova. Now Serenova got acquired by Silverline, and Silverline got acquired by Cognizant. My client was still the same,
Hmm.
and but the cultures of companies were very different. Okay, finally we ended up with Cognizant, and then those 3 years of my career was I was in Hyderabad, and with the same client, three different companies. Again, the Cognizant being Cognizant was fantastic, right? Startup atmosphere, great mentors. I met a lot of good mentors who very quickly told me that don't just be a technologist, be someone who can understand technology, solve business problems. Okay,
Yeah.
and that I think was the first year of my career where I was getting Sun certified with Java, becoming a strong technology. But somebody pulling me up and saying, just don't go down that rabbit hole of just saying that I'm so good at this technology. Think about architectures. But still, that company was around technology and architectures. And Silverline was really a 1 year of flat where it was really ups and bad in terms of them not living up to the commitment on many things. But it was, and then came Cognizant. Okay,
Hmm.
Cognizant was fantastic, great company, great leaders, great processes in place, and was there for some time. And then I moved to the US. Okay, and when I moved to the US, I moved to the US for my MBA. I went to Iowa State University. I did my MBA there. And while doing my MBA, since I was addicted to solving problems with technology, I
Yeah.
could not stay in college for that long not working. So after my 9 months of my MBA, I decided to start working in Iowa and finish my MBA part time. Okay, so I used the curriculum, practical training, and OPT and all those available avenues to do that. And I was actually consulting with Iowa Department of Transportation to build a resource management system for them. And this was pretty new. I mean, they were pretty excited. He's a young kid who's worked with Cognizant, who has 3 years of solid technology background, who has a business mindset. So I was building a resource management system to manage their salts, their snow removal trucks, etc. across the state of Iowa. It was a pretty interesting project, and they gave me a budget. I built my team with campus students who work off hours, some full time, etc. So we had a team of 20 people working for 2 years doing that. So that was a great experience, right? Where I got a little bit more independent from a corporate to a startup at classroom. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, post that, I finished my MBA. And in between, I got an offer with, again, since I was working with Iowa Department of Transportation, started getting called by a lot of consulting companies to work with different states in public sector. Okay. So there was a company called Tier Consulting, which was an offshoot of Bearing Point at that point of time, which was consulting for state of Wisconsin. And they called me up, would you like to, lead a team here, build an unemployment insurance system in Wisconsin? I was like, that sounds interesting. Okay, from transportation to unemployment insurance. I was like, fair enough. And they offered me well. I was still doing my part-time MBA. So during the weekdays, I used to be in Wisconsin. The weekend, I used to travel back to Iowa for my weekend classes. It was quite a 1 year of good experience professionally. It was pretty hard work, right? I mean, you're working 7 days a week, 7 days a week. But I knew it was important for me to grow as a person, as a professional, as an individual as well. While my MBA was getting over, this assignment was still continuing. I still felt a little bit tired in terms of the 7 day schedule. Okay, traveling back and forth, and I got called from a startup. Okay, now this was a based startup back in those days. Back in those days was called Trapeze Intelligent Transportation Systems, Trapeze ITS, and it was based out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And I met these two great individuals, Greg Tomsick and Jeff Joel. Okay, Greg Tomsick was the founder, and Jeff Joel was the partner equivalent whom I used to work with. Okay, so I joined them for a year, and what they used to do was they were building technology, ecosystems to be deployed in public transit systems. Okay, so that a travel of a passenger becomes much easier. Okay, when you travel today in bus stands, rail stations, you see displays, your bus is coming in so many minutes, that bus is getting late in so many minutes. Sometimes you see a bus fully loaded, a different bus comes in that route. That happens through the APCs, the automatic passenger counters, or the infrared beams which count the number of passengers going out. We designed a computer to be on a bus. I also got an experience to contract with different companies on chips, etc. So that was a great experience for me when I was working with the suppliers, etc. Designing the ecosystem, testing it out within Iowa, and then getting it deployed in different states. So great experience, startup, and I was like pure startup experience, where you're a hands-on guy, you're designing, you're developing, you're dealing with hard hat engineers, software engineers, the guys who would install the bus. These are really hard hat guys, right? And that experience very different on the field than sitting in an office and coding away, right? So great experience to have, right? I again the company offered me, they were shutting shop in Iowa, they wanted me to move to Canada. Trapeze got acquired by Constellation Systems, and I was like not ready to move there. And I was for 4 months consulting for a small company in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And then Deloitte had contacted me in the meanwhile, based on my public sector experience of the public transit and then the different states, in terms of what can we do together. So we took 8 rounds, 4 months of them flying me around the country, to Sacramento, to Pittsburgh, and finally I joined Deloitte in April of 2007, and I'm not left. Okay, and I honestly didn't think I'll be here for this long. I thought it's a great brand, few years. Okay, I'll move on to do something different. but it's been a great place, great journey, and there's never a day you can get bored about it, right?
Oh,
It's truly a startup in a large partnership where you can explore, you can do different things, you can pivot your careers in different directions, and I've done that, right?
hmm
So
yeah. I saw your profile every 2 years is like,
something different. It's a fantastic place to be, right? And this is, and I've had great mentors in Deloitte as well, right?
yeah.
Whether when I was in the US, whether I've been in India, and finding those mentors and keeping them close to you has been great, right? I mean, I have always believed that I cannot become someone else. I am me. Okay,
hmm
my personality is mine, but
hmm
it can by the mentors and the leaders I aspire to be or look forward to be. Right, I
Right.
look to their passion. Right, if something in that inspires me, I see whether I can take few nuggets of that
hmm
and put it in my journey.
Yep.
So, because nobody is born with anything, all of us are born equal, but it is our ecosystems, our mentors, and your attitude, your ability. Keep them close and making sure you always have an attitude to delve into new adventures. Don't play the
hmm
victim card. Okay.
hmm
There's enough number of people who say, I didn't get the opportunity. Stop playing the victim card. It's in front
Yep.
of you. Go and
Yep.
find the right people. If you feel you don't have the right people around you, move.
Right.
Move. Nobody stops you. There are enough great people around you to work with. And Deloitte has provided that platform to me, and that's why I'm here. I'm a partner with Deloitte now. I think my goal is to make sure that we have many more. I provide the same platform to many more aspiring people who want to become, strong technology leaders, strong leaders in the ecosystem. We can only provide that platform, right? The rest is the attitude with which people will come, and that will define them.
So here I have a question. Mentor and mentee. Now, since you were seeking out actively, so those mentors were there. Am I right?
Yeah.
If someone doesn't seek out and still the mentor is there, and will it work?
See, you forget professional life. You look at your personal life first. Okay.
hmm
Can you teach a kid who doesn't want to learn?
No.
You
Yeah.
can motivate them. How you teach, how you learn is also important. What are the incentives that are important?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's take personal lives, right? When you have kids, many a times you're shaping the kids to learn something new. If you give them goals
hmm
and they're not interested, they may not be interested. You give them
hmm
incentives.
hmm
Okay. There might be a light which strikes them. So
Okay.
it depends on that as well. Right? So similarly, in the professional, mentor-mentee relationship is very unique. It does not have to be. Oftentimes, people confuse mentor-mentee as a support for them to be successful in their current place. Okay,
hmm
I've seen that enough number of times where people will say, "Hey, I want to make you a mentor so that I can be successful here." Okay, and I'm like, if you then it's a very transactional relationship, right?
hmm
You're trying to navigate the ecosystem with the relationship which one has together. That's not the intent of mentor-mentee. See, mentor-mentee is truly a friendship, okay? Where someone is looking up to someone to
hmm
get something out of them.
hmm
Okay, very soft things. Their aspirations, their goals, how they do things, understanding their stories, right? That's the aspect the mentee is looking through the mentor. Mentee has to have something they feel they can take away from the mentor. You
Yeah.
can't force it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same way, they have to be mentors who should be willing,
Yeah.
mentor and mentee.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, 80 to 90% people are willing. Okay.
Yeah.
Either they're not able to find the time
hmm
or they don't think this is the right mentee.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Or they
Okay.
would think that, let me focus on someone who's easy to mentor. Right?
hmm
So you can't now. I don't think as a person you can change any personality type. Both mentor and mentee have to find that right balance, and it does not have to be one mentor. Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, think about it, right? Somebody asked me, who's your boss at Deloitte? Okay. I said,
Okay.
you know what? Deloitte is like a Hindu temple.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
Hundreds of
Awesome.
gods. You have
Uh-huh.
like hundreds of gods. Now
Mhm.
you choose how many gods you want to pray, right? I mean,
Yes. Yes.
or you know, learn from their stories, right? So same
Mm.
way, in your life, you will have enough number of people whom you want to keep close, right?
Mhm.
So see, coming back to your question, if the mentee doesn't want to be mentored, they cannot be mentored.
Yeah.
If you are all, we are not talking about kids anymore. We are all talking
No.
about professionals.
Professionals. No.
Mentee has to be, and your mentor ecosystem also has to be very, that group ecosystem has to be someone who's easily reachable.
Yes.
Okay. Someone who's very proud about what they're doing
Yep.
and who's able to translate that proud message back to the mentee easily. Okay.
Right.
Someone
Yes.
who does not have a lot of arrogance in their success, or
Mm-hmm.
someone who does not have a lot of arrogance in what they do is the only the right thing. No, nothing else is right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The mentee should see humility and
Yeah.
humbleness.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now there are other some mentors who are like, oh, that guy is so sharp, so astute. Okay, maybe I can learn something. That's an important aspect. Mentee seeing something, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So I think, but if the mentor, when they approach the mentor who was so sharp, so astute, says, well, I don't think you can learn so fast. You need to spend 15 years in the industry,
Mm-hmm.
then we can talk.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
not the right mentor
Yeah.
ecosystem, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's important. Mentor mentee magic. There's no right answer,
Mm-hmm.
but it's important to have the right attitude both for the mentor and mentee to see what's for them.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, when I'm like mentoring people, when they reach out to me, I mean I don't go actively seek out mentoring people, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
One thing is very, and this is very good about Indians, not Red Indians, but South Asian Indians, that we
Mm-hmm.
are all very good at giving gyan. Okay, free
Yeah.
gyan. Free
Yeah.
gyan.
Right.
Okay. So if you ask me to give free gyan, or anyone to give free gyan, they'll give free gyan with its required or not. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think if somebody reaches out, if you can understand the root cause of where they're coming from and give them some directions as opposed to solutions, I think you're a good mentor.
I noticed that you had some kind of mentors, or maybe also some coaches in between, those who were genuinely interested in your success throughout the life. You talk from school, then then the KRC also, and in your MBA, Iowa, and also like right now at Deloitte, which is very important, isn't it?
You need a shoulder to discuss things well.
This is good. So nice, Ankit. I mean, I also kind of like I see that every individual goes through the same challenge, same troubles in their life, and if they find good mentors, coaches, teachers, whatever we call it, there is difference between all these words, but yes, if they find them at the right place, then these individuals, they start performing well. So tell me more about what exactly puts you at a high level of energy in your daily life.
If you want to, no, link into professional and personal, right?
Mhm.
Both are different. Okay,
Yep.
I do feel that everybody needs to, let's talk about professional first. Whatever you do,
Yep.
right? Whatever you do, you should plan your quarter out or the year out in terms of what you want to do that year or the quarter. Okay.
Mhm.
And self-reflect in terms of, and don't take too many goals for yourself. 3 or 4 things is enough.
Yeah.
Okay. And every Monday when you get up, the first thing you need to start reflecting about where you have reached, whether you have reached, what you need to do, how you need to follow, be on top of the game, have the right attitude to succeed. I think there's no other solution to success other than having the right attitude to succeed. Okay, that's if you have that attitude, you'll figure out that there are 5 things you have to do, and you can break it down. In my line of business, there are a few things, right? We sell work to the clients. Okay, we build relationship with the clients, we understand their problems, we see what issues they have, we bridge the gap between that and the technology ecosystem in terms of how we can leverage technology to solve their problems. We constantly look at meeting different kind of people, both from a client ecosystem as well as my team ecosystem perspective, right? I interact with my team on a daily basis. I don't think my team needs to think twice before calling me or sending me a WhatsApp or getting me through communication channels to get to me. It's really very easily accessible. Some of them still feels they respect my time and set up time on my calendar. That's completely fine, their choice, right? But attitude that every Monday morning, I'm going to think through what I've done, what I've not done. And if you have enough in your plate, you will realize there are things which are stopping. You will focus on that. Okay. Signing up for things and then not having an eye on it, okay, will cause disturbance in the ecosystem. Okay.
Yes.
If you're not able to work on it, ask for help. Okay. If you're still working on it and it's not working, it's perfect. You're making an effort. Everything will not succeed. You're making an effort. You're trying hard. Demonstrate that. And the most important thing is communicate. Communicate with substance after you've done things. Do not communicate with fluff or cloud. There are enough number of people who will read you, through their experience in life. So if you are substance and you're working on some things and you're putting all your effort, you're putting in the ecosystem, right? People will see through it, and do not forget to communicate what you are doing and what you intend to do. As people's life get busier, they will not have time to think or understand what you're doing. So feel free to put your thoughts down and communicate. It's important. And that is a very, very, very important lesson for many Indians.
Yeah. Is it specific to Indians or different?
I'm telling you, at least this thing is most technologists.
Yeah, they are.
They're very good. Okay. But and when I say Indian, because I refer to in my world of technologists, as they've grown up, communication has not been an important part either in school or the engineering ecosystem or the early part of your career, right? In most of the pure play firms, right? But as you grow in your career, how you communicate, what you communicate, whether it's how positive it is, how negative it is, right? Will play a very important role in defining who you are, what you're perceived to be, and what you can do, and what you're perceived you can do. How you communicate is very important. I'll give you a very simple example. I was having a discussion with a colleague a couple of days back, and they communicated to me a certain issue with a certain ecosystem, client ecosystem, and the team. Okay. But the tone was, I don't want to work on it anymore. Very negative.
Tone.
Okay. Tone. On one side of it was about, I would like to work, I want to do this. But the deeper down tone, what you really wanted to say is, I'm done on this project. I'm looking to get on some other engagement. Okay. and my coaching was, you're a senior person at Deloitte. You're working with another senior person at Deloitte. Okay. Put yourself in that person's shoes and see, if you were in that person's shoes and you were faced with the same situation, how would you react with the other person? If you do that, you would probably find a way to make the other senior person successful. And if you're able to relate to their situation, okay, you will find a way to not only make them successful, but also make yourself successful in the market.
Yes.
And this is all about stepping back and thinking through. I'm not saying that the other person does not know these things, but in the moment in life, you're going so far. Sometimes you need a friend to come back and tell you something different, not just align and just say, yes, you're right, man.
The frequency, some may be running very fast. The rest of the group are a bit slower. So it probably is not matching. And then you have to adjust your speed according to the rest of the group, right? The ecosystem. So when you say ecosystem, what exactly that means to a normal person?
I use ecosystem. No, so okay. Before I go to ecosystem, I talk about professional and
Yeah,
personal.
right,
And your
right.
question, the first
Yes.
question was around
Energy
uh,
and
energy in the professional and personal.
right.
So let me complete that. So on the
Sure.
professional side, right? One thing is what drives me is what is it that I'm going to accomplish? Okay, if
Mm-hmm.
I don't have that goal assigned to me, I'm not going to be ready. I'll probably be lazy.
Mm-hmm.
So having that goal in front of me actually, makes me think, makes me excited, do things differently. Okay. Second thing which really energizes me is meeting different people, understanding their issues, solving their problems, not together, but with a collective bunch of partners by bringing the best heads in Deloitte, right?
Mm-hmm.
All around the world, right? So I think that again excites me. I'm very, very, very proud about the team I work with. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I have a very strong followership. I have grown with them. I believe leadership is about building a very strong followership. It is not about just finding the right leaders to work with. It is
Yeah.
about building a very strong followership, and
Mm-hmm.
that happens only when they believe in you. Okay,
Yes.
it excites
Yes.
me, it motivates me, right?
Right. Right.
So, and the most important thing is, you know, constant learning of
Mm-hmm.
new things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this doesn't happen by self, just by reading. It also happens by interacting with different set of people who are doing different things. Spending time with people also excites me, right? So these are a couple
Yes.
of things, which really excite me and keep me going. And if there's a problem, where my business hat, the technology hat kicks in, I always think, this is my regular job. What is it that I can do to provide an additional value to the team that the team sees that I'm providing value,
Mm.
right? If that hasn't happened, okay, then probably I should not be there. Okay.
Okay.
So I think these are 4, 5 principles around which drive my energy level high on a every daily basis, right? Now, personal life, it's very different.
Mm.
I have been through different avatars of my journey in terms of from college to today, right? And initially, you're all working weekends, nights,
Mm-hmm.
everything. Now, when I reflect back, today's generation is not that.
Mm-hmm.
Today's generation is very conscious about their health.
Yeah.
They believe in work and personal time, which is fantastic. And
Mm-hmm.
I also have evolved to that part, right? I
Yeah.
strongly believe your weekends is your weekend. Okay, there will always be few weekends and few nights where you have to burn the midnight oil. It's
Mm-hmm.
part of our careers and goals, and depending on which profession you choose, right?
Yes.
But don't make it an addiction.
Mm.
Find time. Find time. You are more than your work. Your personality is more than your work.
Yeah.
Your professional work defines you as a person in which you're trying to live. As a profession, you're being successful there. But as an individual, your success is professional and personal together. Okay,
Together.
spend time with your family.
Mm.
It's very important. Okay, if you're not happy, your family is not happy, that you're not spending enough time, you will not be happy.
True.
Okay, so find time, spend time with your spouse, kids, very important.
Mm-hmm.
Well, whatever it is, I do for me, my energy levels go really high on the weekends when I get out with them on the weekends, right? Whether it's my son's cycling training, whether when I hear my daughter come up with a new song, which she's singing or she's written, right? Or whether we with my wife and I will do something for the house together, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or with my parents, we all go out somewhere with my brother. I think it's very important to
Yes.
find that ecosystem. Now, that's one part. The second part is also, and I'm still trying to get there. I'm not sure I've got there. In between, I had got there in terms of finding time for myself in a sport, in an activity. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So in between, I got into cycling. I was totally into it. I was able to spend time again. I think I've gone off the schedule, but again, there's a constant that I need to get there. And that is actually when you go and exercise. I used to go out cycling on the roads outside for hours. Right. It's a great, great feeling. It just brings you back to nature. Right.
Yeah.
So that's me. Third
Mm-hmm.
thing, I love photography. Right. So again, people have to find their own passion beyond work to be happy to energize them. And it's very important because if you're not energized in your personal world, you will not be able to recharge and drive with the same level of fuel and efficiency in your professional world, and vice versa as well.
Yes, exactly. If disturbance on one side, you come with that disturbance to the other side and you spread that disturbance here also, right? Which is the worst thing to do. So it's better to like, these vicious cycle and virtuous. So it's the difference between that. If you're happy at home, happy at home.
Yeah. So you asked a subsequent question. I forget that.
It
What
was
was the
about
question?
it was about the ecosystem. When you say ecosystem, what all things are there?
See, Pradeep, the ecosystem is basically, what is an ecosystem, right? It's a term in biology we learned a long time back, okay,
Yes.
about an ecosystem, right? And what is an ecosystem? Everything which works around you, right? It's not just one thing, okay? When you go to, when I talk about a ecosystem for bank, okay, or ecosystem of a mall next to ours, is that mall ecosystem used to be shops and consumers. Today it is not. There's a concert open at theater there. There's a concert happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a business which is around advertising, marketing, which is happening there. A mall is about having the best of restaurants and the experiences. A mall is about having gaming centers, okay, bowling alleys. A mall is about shops. A mall is about, deals. As you enter the mall, where can you find the deals? Mall is about an experience, okay? So that experience is created by an ecosystem. If the mall management or the city management thinks of things as an ecosystem, how it collectively provides better customer experience or consumer experience is what defines an ecosystem, right? It is not just one thing. You have to go a little bit broader, okay, in terms of what are the adjacencies around it and how they all come together. Now, same thing comes with technology. For the longest time, technology was looked in silos.
Yeah.
Okay, can it solve one point business problem? Can it solve an FP&A problem?
Sure.
Okay, can I automate some FP&A processes? Okay, right? But there are also companies who are looking like, hey, while look at all the companies, right, for providing telecom services. There's a huge merge between tech, telecom, and your cable companies. Everybody is providing everything now.
Yes.
All your telecom companies are providing bundling services, providing.
Right.
This is an ecosystem which has been created by the emerging technologies. If you take banks, okay. Now banks are in direct competition with your payment platforms, okay. Because banks what used to be banks? You go and deposit money.
Yeah.
Then there became institution of loans. Okay. Then became kind of mutual funds services to our customers. Right?
Yeah.
There was consumer banking, private banking, retail banking, all that came together. Then came the payments. So it was a very consumer and a bank ecosystem transaction. Now comes payment platforms. Your Paytms, your Rupees. Now they are operating in a very different world. They started the payment platform. They're directly competing with all the banks.
Yes.
Okay, on the payments. Now they are thinking how do they expand their business. Now, why would they think that how to expand their business? Because they will look at the Indian ecosystem and see what are the consumers' problem, put them in the center, and provide a platform which can serve the needs of the ecosystem. There, you can buy movie tickets there, you can buy insurance there, you can do shopping there, you can buy groceries there, you can buy train tickets there, you can buy air tickets there. They are looking from a consumer, from an ecosystem perspective. Now, I have given you examples of physical ecosystem, a virtual ecosystem, okay, a technology ecosystem. So for a common man, right, for you and me, I think if we approach a problem thinking of, so see India, I'll tell you a simple thing. Let's take Bangalore. Interesting article on LinkedIn. We keep hearing about Gen AI, we keep all the
Gen AI.
latest articles in the world,
Yes.
every technology which is happening around the world, but nobody is focused on solving the problem, traffic problem, that
Yes, it was.
or
There was.
rest of the country,
Yeah.
right? Every tier two, tier three, tier four city has a major problem, and it's not just a traffic problem. It's an ecosystem problem. I'll tell you why. The drivers on the road who are driving for 3 to 4 hours, where they should be driving for half an hour, will end up in a hospital sooner or later for some kind of an orthopedic intervention. Okay, the drivers which are there, they're guzzling fuel. Okay, which again is going to impact the environment.
Yeah.
Okay, they should not be doing that. Right? The number of people, the number of businesses. So if I'm driving, so for example, if I drive 4 or 5 hours a day in traffic every day, would I feel like driving on the weekend again? Who's impacted? Tourism, business, stores, economies, or will I do all my stuff online? So it's an ecosystem problem. It's an ecosystem problem. It's not just one problem, right? So there are, and when you talk about problem, that is where the opportunities come from.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, these are the opportunities which anyone goes after, they will make a lot of money, right? And they will create a lot of goodwill as well.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of ecosystem, right? And that is where I say ecosystem is about not one particular topic or an area, but all the adjacencies together.
Yeah. Can I say this? As far as my vision goes, I can define my ecosystem. If my vision is very short, my ecosystem at the moment is, because of my short-sightedness, is this my ecosystem, which I can perceive.
And that's maybe that's your home, that's your habitat. You don't want to go beyond your habitat.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable. I don't have the need.
Like if somebody goes to the prime minister level, the ecosystem is completely different than for this guy. In a way, we all are connected in the world, but as long as we see our horizon, I think that's the limit for us.
Good way to say, what's your horizon 1, 2, 3? That's another new popular term in the industry. How do you define your horizons? I think that's a great way to say it.
Ankit, recently in my office, there was a training program on communication. And what I sensed out of this training program is that everybody learned, and which they intend to utilize in the next days and weeks, because they were missing something. How?
Totally. There is no stop for learning, Pradeep. See, I have done enough communication excellence programs in my life at Deloitte. Right? I still reflect on, maybe I'll reflect on our discussion today as well. What could I have done or discussed much more succinctly, much more sharper way? I think it's common, it's human. And if you have aced everything, then you probably achieve moksha.
Yes. So, Ankit, what is your purpose in the next 5 years?
See, let me define three levels of goals: personal, family, and personal, or professional. Okay, and 5 years is a good time frame, which we should all aim for. So professionally, I think I'm happy where I am. Okay, Deloitte is doing. We are going at a good pace, and I intend to work with my partners in the ecosystem to make a difference in the lives of people in India and also around the world from India. That is absolutely my goal, right? And how we'll do that is something for Deloitte and us to implement, but that's one of my goals, right? I intend to see. There's nothing called as a partner. I think you are an equal stakeholder in the firm. You can take on different roles in the firm, but I think more than roles, I think what's important for me is what impact, what value, what difference we can make in the lives in India and around the world. And if I'm able to confidently say after 5 years is a 4 or 5 thing which I've done, which has impacted the lives of Indians in India or global citizens around the world from India, I think that will be a huge success for me. Okay, so that's one aspiration. The second, on the personal side, next 5 years, I can see my kids getting out of home. I think it's important for me to spend that time with them, to navigate with them, to help them succeed, let them lead, be the supporter, right? Not be the parent who tells them who wants them to be in a certain area. But I think with God's grace, for my three kids have clarity in terms of what they I would like to spend time there, and also with my spouse, my parents. I think my ecosystem, family ecosystem, is a very important aspect of my personality beyond professional. Right. I think one thing I would say is next 5 years. One of my personal goals is to, you know, get back into sports and fitness, which I used
Mm-hmm.
to do. So that would be great if I can get there. Right. So those are the three aspirations.
So the third one, the sport goal, is your own goal or is it given by the madam?
I see. I used to play all racket games back in school, Pradeep. So I represent table tennis, squash at
Mhm.
state level in my school days, and subsequently I played. And when I stayed racket game, badminton, squash, table tennis. Those three things were pretty common.
Mm.
And then I think somewhere during the corporate life we lost it all. It's working, working, working. I
Yeah,
think, and it's important. And I picked up cycling recently, right?
yeah.
I'm not looking to get into competitive sports, right? More sports for recreation. It also gives me a lot of me time, clarity. Sometimes you need to reflect on things. And I've been reading this book. I sometimes go to bookstore. I got this book called Ego is the Enemy. I love the name. It's by Ryan Holiday. So that's my new read. And
Uh-huh.
so these are important aspects when you get out, you play something, you run, you cycle, you do some sports. I think it also releases those happy hormones as this and gives you those that newer areas to reflect on personal life as well.
So are there good cycle tracks in your surrounding, Bangalore?
So cycling tracks have not yet been developed in India at scale, if you will. I think most of the cyclists get out on the highways on the weekends.
Uh-huh.
So on the weekends, you will see a bunch of riders on the highways outside. So there are country roads as well, which we used to do.
Mm.
But me and my son used to travel 50 kilometers, and then we used to have breakfast and then come back. So
Mhm.
that was our Sunday thing. But now he's too fast for me.
Uh-huh.
He and I used to be at 25 kilometers per hour. Now he's at 35 kilometers per hour. So I'm like, he's like, Dad, you're too slow for me. Now I'm riding behind him, making sure he's safe. Okay, but
Okay. Okay. So what type of bikes are you, both of you are riding? Is it
road cycles, road
okay?
bikes, road
Okay.
bikes.
Yeah. Okay. That's so maybe if there is time and you have the lust, you can also come sometimes here in the vacation time and do some tracks here in Europe. There are lovely tracks over here. I heard from all other cyclists.
I know. So hopefully someday, absolutely.
Yes, yes, definitely. The view is beautiful, and you go with your own pace, and they are spatially cycle tracks. So also, like, you don't have to worry something coming from behind or from the front. Lovely. Okay, so Ankit, one question. This is on the vulnerabilities. Do
Hmm.
you feel comfortable sharing that what kind of vulnerability you're fighting with? I mean, is there anything which is keeping you awake in the night or in the morning?
So Pradeep, I think, see, as a human, right? Like I said in the beginning, I've always looked at new areas as adventures. I don't get worried.
Mhm.
Okay, and I see them as opportunities. So by nature, I'm not the guy who will think about, oh man, my apple cart is upset. What will I do? I'll think, okay, fine. That's a new place, new area, new arena. Let's go and have some fun. Let's make some new friends. Let's
Mhm.
rock together. I think that's the attitude I have, right? So I think
Yeah.
in general, vulnerability don't have that many vulnerabilities. But again, as a human, there are times when you worked on something and you're not too happy about it, and you're sleeping. I would think about it. Okay,
Mhm.
and I would get up first thing in the morning and go and work on it. Okay, I
Uh-huh.
will. So I am a little bit workaholic in that sense, where I am work on assignment. I'm not too convinced that it is completely crisp. If I'm thinking about it, and when I'm thinking about it, I'm actually thinking about alternatives. I would go in the get up in the morning, first thing, spend half an hour, 1 hour, put my thoughts together, then come back and pick it up in the day. So it's not a vulnerability, but it's a habit, I would say, right? If I'm not
Mhm.
convinced about something. Second thing, I don't know how you define vulnerability. That's the problem is there, right? That I don't define vulnerability for most people. How would you define it? But in general, I think don't have that many vulnerabilities. I think there was a time in my life where, I also evolved where I would not be happy with about how certain things would happen because
Mhm.
of caustic behavior or etc. And I used to actually, take them on head on, right? And actually get it fixed. But there's also certain level of maturity with not every battle is to be fought. Okay.
Mhm.
So I think that has been learned over a period of time. Right? I think it's an
Yeah.
important one in my mind. Again, I don't define as vulnerability, but the person who I was, where I would take on everything right in front of me as a, hold the bull by its horn, make sure where it has to be. That's not me anymore. I mean, I would hold the bull by its horn when I want to hold it, right?
Mhm.
Where I
Yeah.
don't want to hold, I let it go,
Mhm.
right?
Okay. Okay.
Let it go. So I think it's an important aspect of uh, growing up. I think third is sometimes most people worry, or I used to worry about managing professional and personal life when you had kids
Mhm.
initially, and as they're growing up, they will have different demands of pressure. And I also like another human being would had that, and I've been able to manage it well, right?
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
have, and in fact, I have never believed in this is my office time, this is my personal time. I
Okay.
want work-life integration. Okay,
Integrated.
I asked my wife the other day, do you really know what I do? I want her to know what I do.
Mhm.
Okay, because I know what she does.
Okay.
And it's important to have the conversation so there's appreciation.
Mhm.
Okay. I want my kids to understand that. I want them to understand what I do so that there is full appreciation of how do you manage your 24 hours better. It is not about here's my work time, here's my personal time. The world has evolved where you can take breaks at different parts of the day to focus on both family and personal life. It wasn't like that earlier. It was
Mhm.
very brick and mortar in terms of the office time. Hey, this is the time at home. But I think times have evolved, and I'm very glad, right, that has happened. And I think while Corona has been, or COVID was a really, really bad time for everyone. We
Mhm.
lost, everybody lost everyone.
Yeah.
There, somebody lost someone in their family. We
Mm.
lost many people in our families. But if I reflect back, it really has changed the dynamics of every family at home.
Mm.
Many of us were able to spend time with our wives, kids,
Yeah.
and they were able to spend time with us. We got to
Yes.
know them. It was not easy for anyone to begin with,
Mhm. Mhm.
right?
It was not
And it
easy.
has changed our lives. And at least my kids don't demand that life.
Mm.
They want to see me more.
They want, sorry.
They want to see me more. Okay.
They
So
are
and
addicted.
yeah, so I think it's a good thing. And I think
It's good. Yeah.
I would say that there was that sense of building at some point in my career saying that how will I manage it,
Mhm.
right? And oftentimes most parents go through this, whether it's dad or mom, right?
Mhm.
Both dad and mom equally would like to spend my time with their parents.
Mhm.
And they I think with the new ways of working in the new world,
Mhm.
hopefully many are taking advantage of it. Hybrid workforce
Yeah.
where people are able to spend time with their family as well as not and be very and equally impactful at your workplace.
Yes. Yes. So, like I understood, like if we look back in the past, then it is easy to find out, like you have explained the vulnerabilities, and then you overcome those areas, or you fought it or you let it go. It's easy. I also heard that good thing is that parents, you and your kids, they're all together. I mean, whenever you move not just a family, a big
Yes,
family, right? It's a beautiful thing, isn't
I'm
it?
blessed. I'm blessed. It's not easy. Again, I will say I'm blessed. When I moved back to India in 2012,
Mm-hmm.
my intent was to stay with my family. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I left home 1996, I left home for college. And I think 2012, I came back to India to be with family. Right? Otherwise, it could be, when I say family, it's not just the 4 or 5 of us, you know, as a husband, wife, and kids. That
Yeah.
your family is a family. Again, ecosystem, right? Your parents,
Yeah.
brothers, sisters, wife's parents. I think that ecosystem is very important. It's a significant reason why I moved back to India, and I think I've really enjoyed coming back to India and going within the industry.
Yes. So please pass on my regards to the whole family. Yeah. One day I will come and meet there.
Please,
And
please,
you're
please.
also most welcome here in whenever you visit Europe.
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, no,
Thank
sir,
you very much.
absolutely. And if you're in Bangalore, please drop by.
Sure, Ankit. Yeah. So with this, actually, this is not yet over, Ankit. This has just started, in my opinion. There are more areas where I would like to deep dive, but this is just a first take, I would say. And in the next sessions, we'll go even deeper and I'll have
Sure.
more questions. Thank you very
Thank you.
much for your valuable time, and I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. Yeah.
It was great. I think it's a great conversation. I think we should sometimes these conversations make you back and think through. But thanks for doing this. I'm happy to be in further conversations as well.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Jain, sir.